This ANS includes language from my legislation, HR 7021, the Water Quality Criteria Development and Transparency Act. I'm sure everyone would agree that the feedback from matter experts and congressional members who are conversant with their constituents should be considered invaluable. The EPA, however, views input from these stakeholders differently, at least in regards to water quality criteria for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permits. In this instance, the EPA claims that these criteria are mere guidance, and when viewed as such, most often disregarded. They are not viewed as a final agency action. States can adopt different criteria in theory, but the EPA makes the process so difficult and burdensome that most states are forced to adopt the EPA recommended criteria. As the EPA proceeds to voluntarily take comments and feedback on these criteria, they simultaneously place limits on the time of review. These reviews, by the way, come from its own internal Science Advisory Board. Speaking on behalf of stakeholders, a review from its own internal board should not be enough. The ANS language, the language in this ANS from my bill, the Water Quality Criteria Development and Transparency Act, would ensure that the development of these criteria would be treated with the same respect as any other final agency actions or new regulation. It would also specifically include stakeholder feedback. The stakeholder continually deals with increasingly burdensome permitting systems through the EPA. Their real-life experience allows for knowledge of what will and what will not work. Their insight and experience deserves consideration by the EPA. Also needed in a limited way is EPA accountability through judicial review. The judicial system has been abused through tactics of activists for years, but this review would be very limited. I would prefer no more onerous regulations on criteria, but if new ones are going to be created, industry experts should be involved in the process. Career government bureaucrats developing these criteria in a vacuum should be concerning to everyone in the pipeline. Feedback and input from field experts, on the other hand, saves time, money, and resources. The EPA must consider the opinions of industry stakeholders. Regulations should be treated as such, and requirements should be treated as such, and this portion of the ANS would ensure that. I urge my colleagues to support this language and the ANS to HR 7023 as a whole. I yield back to balance my time to the chair. Thank you.